Just ahead of the election, tensions are running high. Alex Sakariassen recently wrote an article about how allegations and misinformation continue to drive Montana elections, specifically after a video of a ballot box was touched in Browning. Thanks so much for joining me, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kylie.
What claims were made in regards to the touching of this specific ballot box?
Yes, specifically, the word that had been floating around last week was tampering, and I want to put that in quotes. That word, as far as I understand from my reporting, originated with an email from the Glacier County election administrator to the
Mm,
Montana Secretary of State's office, alerting them to the situation on the security footage. And even in that email, the word tamper was put in quotations. That quickly gained some traction in various different media circles. And then Secretary of State Christi Jacobsen, through her reelection campaign, had forwarded or promoted that characterization of
mm.
the incident, saying that, you know, a Democratic staffer had been, quote, tampering with a ballot box. And yeah, it is worth noting that since then, county officials have come out publicly to say that that characterization was unfounded. There were no charges brought. This individual was released, and there's no substantiation for any kind of misconduct or foul play or damage to election infrastructure in Glacier County.
Okay. And then how has the public trust in the electoral process changed in Montana over the years?
Yeah, what we've seen, at least through my reporting with Montana Free Press, has been uh, a rather steady, um, a rather steady vein of what I would call skepticism
Mm,
in the election process,
mm.
and a lot of questions around certain procedures and certain infrastructure, like tabulating machines that count the votes on the ballots. So essentially, I mean, this is still a very live conversation, a very live debate. There are several state lawmakers who continue to raise serious questions about the election process in the state of Montana, and it doesn't appear from my reporting to be, subsiding here in 2024.
Okay. And then as far as your reporting goes, how are the volunteers being trained to ensure they remain unbiased?
Yes, I believe you're referencing specifically the Montana Election
Mhm,
Observation Initiative.
mhm,
Yes, that's being headed up by the nonprofit Carter Center in partnership with several local former state and state officials. But yeah, the volunteers there have been trained to adhere to a code of conduct that
mhm,
includes non-interference in the processes that they're observing. They've been trained to remain impartial,
mhm,
and essentially what they'll be doing on election day, what I've been told, is they'll be working off of a checklist that's
mhm.
been created using Montana law and guidelines around elections to basically go through and say, oh, yeah, this is the step that these election judges or these election workers are following now. This is the step they're following now, and kind of sequentially go down that list of various different tasks that are conducted in the polling locations they're observing on election day. All of this is very process focused, not results focused. We see a lot of poll watchers every year that show up and kind of keep an eye on things on behalf of their own candidates or their own parties. But these folks are there to observe the process. And they conducted a pilot in Missoula County during the June primary and found that the election was, in their words, in their final report, well conducted. And all of these observations will inevitably be compiled into a final report after the election that will be released for the public to see. And all of those observations will be entered into the public domain. So,
Great. Thanks so much for joining me, Alex. I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks a bunch, Kylie.